Hello, Sioux Falls, and welcome to Planning Preview for the month of January. My name is Jason Bieber, Senior Planner with the Planning and Development Services Office with the City of Sioux Falls, and joining me as usual is Kurt Johnson, our Planning Commission Chair.
Thank you, Jason.
How are you doing today, Kurt?
Real good. Good to be here.
Yeah, you got what? This will be your second to last planning preview you get to do since we're kicking you off as chairman. So this is kind of
short timers
that's right.
going on here, and hopefully we have our best show yet.
That's right. Well, let's get right into it. So
yeah, as I was looking at this lineup, Jason, this is like it's a small list, but it's quality.
Yes.
We got some of everything on here. So our first item looks like a future land use amendment. Why don't you tell us about this one?
Yeah, so we don't particularly see these very often, and
right.
As you know, we're probably going to see a couple more of these, but really what we're doing here is the developer had come in and had tried to, is trying to really develop some land that we're actually showing maybe land that's not ready for about 15 to 20 years down the line.
Sure.
He was able to do some sewer modeling and really figure out that this land can be sewered now. So what we're having him do then is actually come and do what we call a future land use amendment to really take that land from what we're calling a tier 3, which is about 2040, up to a tier 1. And then we could then annex in and let him start developing. So,
well, that's real good. Again, seems to be a shortage of housing in town, and anything we can do to accelerate that type of process this is a good thing.
Yeah, especially across from the new Harrisburg Middle School on there, 69th and Southeastern. So, yep.
Very good. Looks like our next one takes us a little in that same area on the south side of town here, rezoning from ag to single family. 8200 block of Southwestern.
Yeah,
so tell us about this one.
Yeah, so this is just kind of south of 85th and Western. There's kind of an old farmstead house that fronts Western Avenue.
Sure.
That one is being sold, and the applicant here is going to redevelop that and really construct about 3 lots from there and build his house and then a couple of his family houses on there. So kind of be some of those larger over acre lots similar to what we see just to the west of it in that kind of residential subdivision.
Well, very good. Excited to see that one come to fruition.
Yep.
Our next one here looks like we have a rezoning from ag to a series along with a preliminary subdivision plan. So we got a combination here. Why don't you tell us about this project?
Yeah, so this would be up in the northeast part of town, and really as we're seeing properties adjacent to Veterans Parkway with that being completed up to I-90, we're starting to see some demand for some additional land up there, getting it ready for not only some industrial uses, but also some live-work apartments and some other housing up in that area. So this one will encompass kind of an area in Madison and Veterans Parkway, bringing some land that's in the Brandon School District ready to get it ready to go for some additional, commercial, residential, and office uses up there.
That's excellent, and yeah, it'll have a similar pattern as you back away from the busier thoroughfares and feeder streets.
Yep.
It'll back away to residential uses. That's a great design, and can't wait to see that one come together. Looks like the last item we have to talk about today is a conditional use for a billboard. Again, these are getting fewer and far between, but this does look like it is in a location off of South Minnesota that would be a typical place for something like this. Why don't you tell us about this one?
Yeah, so you may know, like probably 5 years ago, we kind of went to what we call billboard opportunity districts and really only allowed billboards in some of our major corridors. So as you kind of indicated, we don't see a lot of these anymore because there's not as many locations for billboards that they can do. This one is still a location that's allowed in the Opportunity District and really fronts 229, which is some of our heavier, faster traffic. So these are areas where if we're going to allow larger billboards, it's probably an area that we will allow them or support them to go a little bit bigger than the 288 square feet. So.
Well, very good. Yeah, look forward to hearing more public input on this one. So it'll be great. Well, this is a great lineup, and again, this will be coming into our January 4th, our first meeting of 2023. So we'll be definitely excited to see that.
Yep, sounds good, Kurt, and thanks for joining us today. And
Thank you.
Stay tuned, Sioux Falls. After the break, we got a special treat for you. We have Shannon Austin with the City Traffic Division Engineering Department to talk about some not only projects maybe that got completed in 2022, but some exciting ones that are coming up in 2023. So stay tuned.
Hey, this is Seth with the City of Sioux Falls Housing Division. I'm here today with another Home Maintenance Minute for you. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your driveway in the winter. It is a city ordinance that you have to remove the snow within 48 hours of each snow event. And so in order to get that snow and ice off of your sidewalks, off of your driveways for yourself, a lot of people like to use salt. And I myself have used salt, and it works really great. However, as you can see with this driveway, this in particular homeowner used some really aggressive salts, and so it actually ate through the top layer of their driveway, and it's all pitted, and there's sand everywhere, and this concrete isn't going to last as long as it should. The Housing Division wants you to know that clearing your driveway and sidewalk helps avoid safety issues for individuals in wheelchairs, neighbors passing by, and delivery drivers, or anyone else who needs a safe path. Clearing ice and snow can avoid damage to your sidewalk, such as water infiltration into cracks and joints, specifically during the thaw-freeze portion of winter. There are multiple products and methods for clearing snow and ice from driveways and sidewalks during the winter months. We encourage you to do your own research and understand the consequences of the products that you are using. Lastly, we want to thank you for taking care of your investment and continuing to keep Sioux Falls the safe neighborly community we enjoy. Thank you for watching today's Home Maintenance Minute.
Welcome back to Planning Preview. Joining me for the second half of our show is Shannon Austin, one of our amazing traffic engineers from the engineering department.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you. We love to have you on, once or twice a year to talk about road projects. And today, if we can talk a little bit about some of the major ones you guys maybe got completed or a good start on in 2022, and then give us a little update on some insider information on maybe some projects that are going to be causing motorists havoc in 2023.
Well, that's always our goal is to get everybody late to work in the mornings. But 2022 certainly was a stellar year for us. Mm-hmm. It was unusually dry, so our contractors were able to finish a lot of our projects. But we do have a couple that were so big that we get to carry them forward into 2023. And one of my favorite is 41st Street from Shirley Avenue over to Marion Road. If you haven't been over to the west side, you're probably not shopping at the mall because we have a nice 6-lane facility from the interstate to Marion Road. It's just has improved the capacity as well as the safety of that corridor. That went really well. The contractor got done in early November, and they'll be just doing a little bit of work throughout the rest of the year, but we'll start again then on the east side now from Shirley to the interstate.
So when is your plan? Because I think you guys are planning to extend or expand the bridge to the north on there.
Correct.
Is that in this 2023 project?
Correct. So we won't. It's widening of the existing bridge. It's not shutting it down, so we can keep it open to traffic. Because we have found that if we can keep at least maybe one lane in each direction, that helps out with traffic. And so the contractor will be working on widening and then total reconstruction on the east side, which would look very similar to what we did on the west side. So it's still going to be a pretty painful upcoming year. We have a new type of interchange. It's called a diverging diamond. Certainly, if you don't know what they are, Google that. But if our contractor doesn't get the bridge open by the time snow flies 2023, we'll open it up to traffic, but it won't be a true diverging diamond until the next spring, because we don't want to spring a new type of interchange on people and then have the snow fly and cover up all the pavement markings. So we'll definitely want to have dry pavement so everybody can see where they're driving.
But the schedule, if everything goes well, is to try and get it open by the end of, or the winter of 2023, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The plan is to hopefully get it open by the end of 2023, barring any major challenges. So.
Yeah, I've driven the west of 41st Street. That is nice. So we get 3 lanes. You kind of forget about how much of a pain it is once it's finished and you get on it. So it's been great west of
Right.
there. So the other one that is more kind of in my home, and I take it quite a bit now, is Cliff Avenue, which I think is awesome. From 49th to, or however, even south there, 49th to 57th, just how much that's improved traffic going there to the north. I used to just dread it, right, going north on there at 5 o'clock, 5:15, but it's just been amazing.
Yeah, so we've of course, our traffic engineers, we like to do before and after studies, and we've really improved, not necessarily the travel time and the speeds, but just improved the overall safety through there. So there was people that were turning left and trying to get around people. And that was more of a phased approach. About 10 years ago, we took the on-street parking off and we restriped it 2 northbound lanes, 1 southbound lane. And then this past year, unfortunately, we had to take all the ash trees out that were in the boulevard, which certainly our Parks Department was appreciative of that, and then add that additional lane. So what we still try to not make it too wide because we still have single-family homes adjacent to Cliff Avenue. So we want to make sure we don't give them a speedway in front of their house.
And I think that's a great point too, is how much you guys work with those single-family property owners. I know I look along there, and you guys worked with them quite a bit to give them some of those turnarounds, those little turnarounds adjacent to their driveway to be able to get them to be able to, so they don't have to back out. And that's not only safety for them, but also for the drivers on Cliff. So
Absolutely.
I think that's great that you can work with them on that. So give me one other project that went really well in 2022 and that you're excited for people to drive on.
Well, 41st and Sycamore, we had an overlay on Sycamore from basically 26th Street down to 57th Street. So that really enhanced and smoothed our travels down there. The actual intersection of 41st and Sycamore seemed like it was going to go on forever, but it did recently open up to traffic probably right before Thanksgiving. And just the added lanes through the intersection has improved the operations at that intersection dramatically. So we have a median on 41st Street, which there is a little bit of a learning curve on that one, but those access points are so close to the intersection that we needed to protect those turning movements and not allow those left turns in and left turns out. So, but that was one that we were excited about just because we saw a lot of congestion.
Yeah, and I used to drive that a little bit to go out east to sports games or basketball, and that would get a little tight, a little backed up in front of fairways, so that'll be good to expand that. But so talk a little bit now. I think a lot of people hopefully know by now, but the big elephant in the room for 2023 is Veterans Parkway. So maybe talk a little bit about that, just because that's kind of our maybe biggest project, and then maybe we'll talk about a couple small ones. So what's our first phase for 2023 here?
Sure.
Or Veterans Parkway in 2023, excuse me.
So our first phase is from Western Avenue to the east or to Cliff Avenue, and we are starting there because we had actually purchased a lot of the right-of-way in advance in that 2-mile segment. So that'll be where we start first. We hope to have a contractor bid by April, and we hope to start turning dirt by May.
So I think that's something that maybe people don't realize is actually each segment that you're doing is a 2-year project, and then you'll start one segment, and then the next year you'll actually finish it, and while you start another segment, correct?
Yeah, so a little bit refinement there. So each segment will take 2 years to construct.
Okay.
So there'll be an overlap of the first year will likely be grading for the first segment.
Gotcha.
And then when we pave the first segment, we'll start the grading for the second segment. So there'll be a lot of dust and a lot of construction activity that people will definitely see it being built, and it'll be exciting because there's not going to be a lot of huge impacts to traffic.
No,
we'll have, Cliff Avenue and Minnesota will be open to traffic as we add additional turn lanes, but like Western and Tallgrass and Louise may be closed for a certain amount of time, but we probably won't close them at the same time. So there'll be a lot of a phased approach to construction, and the excitement is definitely building.
So can you use the same contractor then to do all of it? I mean, do you bid every year then? So is
Yes.
Okay, so do you expect like the same contractor that's doing the grading for the first section to actually construct the pavement to do all of it, and then a different contractor for the next section? Or do you think the same contractor has the bandwidth to do 2 sections at the same time?
Yeah, so right now, the first segment, just because of the time that it took, we had a kind of condensed design. We're going to bid it all as one project, design or grading and paving.
Okay.
Now, if we see that maybe there's a benefit to separating those out, we'll still explore that,
Yeah.
but probably not to the second or third or fourth segment.
Yeah, just trying to get that thing going and started and
Yep.
get it finished, because I know a lot of people are really excited about where we connected to the north, how nice that is,
Right.
that they're probably getting pretty antsy to connect to the south. So I think that's going to be a great project, and like you said, I think you made such a great point that it's not going to be that impactful to existing traffic, because a lot of what we're putting in there isn't currently pavement. We're adding new pavement, so that'll be a big help. So talk about, that's the big one, obviously. What are a couple, I wouldn't call them smaller projects, right? Because all of our projects you do are big, but what are some maybe 1A projects that we're doing next year that may affect residents with travel and slow things down a little bit?
So one of the projects that we've been working very closely with the Harrisburg School District on is getting Cliff Avenue widened from 85th Street down to its new Freshman Academy, which is planned to open in the fall of 2023. And so we will widen Cliff to a 4-lane with the median section, and it ends up to be about 3/4 of a mile. And that's really going to change the environment out there, because it's just been a county rural highway, and so with the school, if you haven't been out there, the school is coming up very nicely. But we got a lot of work to do before the school actually opens in the fall. So our plan is to have the street done and the school done about the same time. So we'll see how that goes.
Do you expect the traffic for that Freshman Academy, more of it to come from the south, or kind of from all directions?
When we've closely been coordinating with the Harrisburg School District, it's going to be from both directions.
Yeah. And I think that's Cliff, like you guys have done now to 85th, is just nice that that's 4 lanes. And then that turn lane onto 85th has been such a big help, just that. So that'll be great to get it down another 3/4 of a mile, like you said, and get that first entrance into the Freshman Academy. So,
Yep.
So give us another project that you're excited about.
Well, 33rd Street and Veterans Parkway, which is just north on Veterans, we are going to put up a traffic signal on 33rd Street. With development on both sides of Veterans Parkway now, we see that we need to have, traffic volumes are high enough where they actually meet warrants for a traffic signal. And so the neighborhoods that are on both sides are very excited about that, just because it gives them that little safety buffer to get out on a 6-lane facility, which it is hard to cross 6 lanes of traffic. So that'll be going up probably later in 2023, just because of the material delays. We're still experiencing large or long material delays with traffic signals. So we bid the project, we got great bids, but it just takes almost 6 to 9 months to get a traffic signal up. It's crazy.
Is that one of those projects, the traffic signal there, is that a little bit, you have to put that up maybe faster than you anticipated, or is that this about the time where you thought, hey, the volumes would be high enough here on 33rd that we'll have to put it up?
Yeah, so I think the Ben Rifle Middle School and the Brandon Elementary School really kind of enhanced the traffic that we had out there. So we knew it was going to be about 5-10 years, which we're probably around that 10 years since our volumes have started to increase.
Good. And then maybe one other one that I know that you have met with the neighborhood out there, but interchange on 85th and 29, right?
Yes.
So you got the environmental assessment back from whoever you guys get that from.
Right.
Took a little longer than anticipated, I think. And so now you can kind of move ahead. So what's in store for 85th Street in 2023?
Well, you won't be seeing a whole lot of actual dirt being moved at the interchange. We couldn't start the final design until we got the environmental document approved by Federal Highway. So our next step then, after getting the environmental document approved, we'll start the final design. And then we probably actually won't move dirt until 2024.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So our plan is, if funding allows and if we get right of way, we would actually reconstruct and widen Tallgrass Avenue down to 85th Street, but we're still working on the right of way for that project. So so if we don't have all of the right of way, in the next 4 or 5 months, that will likely slide off until 2024, and then we'll have a lot of construction going on.
And then just real quick, one other question on that is, when you guys do start doing the dirt work and the construction, are you constructing the full interchange right away, or is it an overpass first and then you come back and do the interchange?
Yeah, so this one has not necessarily been the smoothest process, but it will be a full interchange with on and off ramps, yes.
And that'll really, like we've talked about, and that'll really transform that entire area.
Absolutely.
And I think you guys have done such a good job meeting with those neighbors, because there are some existing rural subdivisions out there, and that's going to really change their rural character.
Oh, absolutely, and it's unfortunate, but we've been impacting them with construction. I mean, so many years out of the last probably 5 years, and so they're probably tired of us by now.
Nobody can get tired of
Right.
it, Shannon. That never happens. But so I just want to say thanks so much for coming on. We love having you on and tell us about a little bit about what happened and what's coming up. So obviously we'll have to try and have you on next year too to keep going with the same stuff. So appreciate you being on, and thanks for the update.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us for Planning Preview for the month of January. The meeting this month is January 4th at 6 o'clock at the Carnegie Town Hall. And as always, we'd love for people to come and give public input on not only the items that we talked about here tonight, but we also have that 5-minute public input comment period at the end of our agenda to talk about anything planning related. So thanks, Sioux Falls, and have a great day.